What's up? We're gonna do a tutorial of how I do my remixes because a lot of people have been asking for that. The one I'm going with today is 7 in the style of Call Me If You Get Lost, which was suggested by Call Me If You Get Lost sub Baudelaire. So what I'll usually start with is I'll look for the acapella of the song. So there can be issues with that sometimes. The best case scenario would be that the acapella has already been uploaded, like here for example. For Radicals it was kind of difficult. Post-processing can save that, hopefully. If not, then there is like a method that you can do. You can get the instrumental, which is much easier to find usually, and then you get the original song and you put them together and then you reverse polarity or something. We got it right here, and I just use 4K video downloader, stuff I've used for songs, like recent songs and stuff. Drag it into okay, I've downloaded the video. Alright, now I have the actual audio of it. So I usually try and find what the BPM is first. Some of the videos have it on them, but I don't know what it is. The BPM always goes off like immediately. After a few like bars, it's already completely off for some reason. So you have to do some adjusting, and that's kind of like something to do with ear training. Kind of one of the problems you face when making these sorts of remixes. Alright, so we've got this here. Tell is where the first beat begins. So what I'll do for that is, because I'm sure there's some way, I'm not like an extremely experienced FL user, I'm sure there's some way to make like the fourth beat come before the first beat here. I don't know how to, so I'll just do any like I'll do a 4 count, or I'll put in some sort of sample. One thing people do tend to do, and it's definitely a thing I used to do, they'll take this entire thing and then they'll just send it to the playlist immediately. As previously mentioned, the BPM could make that problematic. What I prefer to do is go through the first, like, I don't know, 8 bars, for example. So from here until there, and then I'll take all of that, and then I'll put that in, adjust it however I need to, and then I'll do the next part. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll cut to when I finish doing it, because it's quite a long process. Oh yeah, before I carry on, another thing I do is I actually delete each section whenever I'm finished with it. One of the other big things, you can see the length of each section that you send to the playlist. So here, for example, all of these have been around 11.3 seconds long. So that's how I know that I'm getting it exact. And I don't need to do anything extremely like I just spent about a minute trying to find out what the word I meant was, but zoom right in here and get it all exact, because you know roughly what it's going to be, and that basically saves you pretty well. Get into one of the points during the process where I'll think if I want to do the full song or if I just want to do a certain, like, one section of it. It all really comes down to, is he doing a hook? Is he doing a singing verse? Is he doing straight verses like he's doing here, for example? So usually when he's just doing straight verses, I will tend to cut the song down a little bit, and I want to keep it, like, kind of concise. Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe I'll do that with this one, but we'll see. For now, we do have the base kind of what we need for the vocals. I actually do have a feeling I could have just put them straight in, but it's I do like doing the sectional sending. That's just kind of what I've gotten used to. I'm going to show you guys the absolute golden egg of my sample library. I will put a link to this in the description if I can find it. I'm pretty sure it's still up somewhere. This is all of the sounds, all of the samples, all of the synth noises, all of the drum kits, a vast majority of all of them from all of Tyler the Creator's albums. Breaks in here, and I won't always use this. If I'm doing one of his old beats created into his new beats, so like we're doing today, I will use the ones from here more often, because you can get the exact sound of them more. Now, in the present day, a lot of the sounds that Tyler uses are much more unique. You'd spend a lot of time if you tried to make something else sound like it. But for stuff, for example, like Who Dat Boy and the style of I think it was Bastard, for that I could take like drum break. There are a few synths that were also relatively unique to him. So one synth I'll actually use a lot is for the older remixes. Yeah, Celestial 3. So you guys have definitely heard that in a few of the remixes I've done. I don't remember which song he used it on, but I do know he used that exact patch on one of his songs from Bastard, or maybe it was At Your Own Risk or something. So what I will actually first do to get the structure of the song is I'll listen to I'll usually keep the same chords. If there's a like distinct chord progression, I'll keep that chord progression without much variation. We're pretty lucky that there's no melodic parts in this. If we want to, then this one we can definitely change the key or do anything like that, and that'll give it a different vibe, a different atmosphere. Usually ear training is definitely a big part of actually figuring out the chords. If you can't find them online, I will usually look them up first. So I'll look up 7 chords, Tyler, Creator. So for this one, I've now looked it up online. Alright, yeah, I found one and it was pretty it's just not great. I'll listen to the actual original song and try and figure out the chords from that. It definitely does pay off to have either relative pitch or perfect pitch. So luckily I have perfect pitch, so it's a little bit easier. But relative pitch is something you can learn. Ear training is definitely just a big part of getting these sort of things exact. Yeah, so for this, for example, I may look into the synths and see if I can find something from Call Me If You Get Lost. If not, then I'll just listen through and listen to what sounds like it could also fit. It could just be from any of the albums, but it could have a similar kind of vibe to it. You shouldn't expect to get the perfect synth on first try. Have it as whatever sound you want at first, just to get the actual chords down, and then you can worry about what exact sound you're using afterwards. I have actually just realized that there is a 4 count in this anyway, so that's pretty helpful. So I think I've gotten the first chord. It'd be a B flat major 7, I believe it is. The second chord, I'm not quite sure what it is. I'll probably just try and transpose it up and see if that works with it somehow. Or we can even try and just fit it to the typical standards of Call Me If You Get Lost. You may notice I actually haven't recorded the notes. I've like tapped them out on my MIDI keyboard and then put them in. It's just like a little bit of a faster process that way for me. Put that there. So we need that 4 count anyway. And then we're gonna have it here. Oh. It does sound like it could sound better an octave down. Like that as well. So this can definitely be one of the slightly frustrating parts, is just trying to figure out what the exact chords are, especially because they're also not perfectly pitched. As you can see here, I've put the pitch up like a little bit because it's the original song. The keys are a little bit sharp. Yeah, that can be kind of one of the issues you run into as well. So it's all about ear training, really. You can get lucky and find some actual like chords of the songs online that are exact. Obviously it depends on the song, because not all people want to find the chords for these songs online. Usually these chord websites are for guitar. Not everyone is trying to play 7 on guitar. So you have, we can even alter it and we can just make it our own thing. Yeah, so I think maybe that's what I'll do for this one. I won't try and get the exact chord, try and think of something that fits with it. Yeah, so I quite like that. Maybe we will change this to an analog lab. That's what I'm going to add in. I'm going to take them and just play around with them, see what I can get. I did forget analog lab 5 is very strange with pitch and shit. Quicker than Mexican sprint over borders. I give a fuck like a quarter with 20 cents. The Hampton with Fred Hampton, relax now. Quicker than Mexican sprint over borders. Quicker than Mexican sprint over borders. I give a fuck like a quarter with 20 cents. The Hampton with Fred Hampton, relax now. Hampton campus, the fucking financial. That Hampton wasn't relaxing, I'm taxing. Fuck them all, I'm chanting. Don't complain, I'm just ranting. Fuck ranking, I'm the best, I'm the champion's champion. We're immediately gonna go in a different direction with the chords after this. I'm dirtier than the sheets in a Marriott. Cable guy. Probably just keep this first chord and take away the lower note that makes it sound nice. You know, like this. Yeah, something like that. So if I don't like this chord progression, I'll just change it up later. But the drums, Call Me If You Get Lost drums, got a lot of different kind of things. Because on What's Your Name, for example, it's just it's the sample from H-Town. You have like Lemonhead, which has more kind of general term, but trap drums, I suppose. You have Manifesto, which has a whole other thing. It starts with a drum break and then carries on with like a different sounding drum break, or maybe, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of kind of variation on Call Me If You Get Lost, which can make it a little bit difficult to figure out what drums you want to use for it. I could go a different route and even make this sound more like a Wilshire kind of thing. if this has the Wilshire drum break in it, I will actually take that for now and then build the actual drums around it, because maybe I want to have something similar to it. So we have it right here, and it would actually fit this kind of chord progression. So we could make this completely different. Obviously Bastard was more of like a dark kind of album, and we can make this sound nice and sweet, you know. It's fun, like trying to figure out what kind of variations you could do with the different songs here.
I'm just ranting, fuck ranking, I'm the best, I'm the champion's chariot. I'm a liar like carrying, liar, I'm dirtier than the sheets in a Marriott. Cable guy like
we could actually change the key here, make it sound a bit more evil, I suppose. You have a couple loops here as well, could use one of them. Something like that. Pretty close to the original, but at the same time it actually does sound like something that could be on Call Me If You Get Lost. We'll do the post-processing for all of, and the mixing for all of this later. We're just trying to get the actual form of the song down first. So what people will do, put in our 3 parts, and then they immediately go to the mixer and start trying to get it post-processed, but then you lose time by doing that. I just focus on getting the form of the song down first, and then after that I can do the post-processing and make it sound like more high quality. What we'll do here. Sometimes you want to just cut down the drum loop, you don't want to use the whole thing. Let's definitely save it while we're at it. People do sometimes say that you shouldn't keep listening from the beginning to like stuff that you're making. I find it a pretty good idea, because you can like think of what do people want to expect for the next part of this song, and you either want to do that or you can break them as well. You can break their expectation. You can pitch it up, pitch it down. You could just have fun with it at first, you know, just try and like get your own sound. For stuff like this, I will actually go into the mixer immediately for mixing drums, because they can kind of be a make all be all, whatever it's called, I don't remember, end all be all. Here I think the low mid is a little bit heavy, same for the high end. Can also like play around, you can take the individual drum parts out of the loop, so you hit on one of the other beats. This, for example. Could try and add in some sort of hi-hat that just continues going on, or maybe a tambourine, something like that, a shaker. Yeah, just take like that one for example, just for now. Get to turn that off. Do a little intro to FL as well. Use loop points. Some of your things will just repeat even when there's nothing here. That's not happening right now, but it does happen on my kegs quite often. Turn that off, and then it won't. It sounds a little bit too quiet for your liking. You can adjust it with normalization, what I do, and it helps pretty well. Can do a little bit of automation, velocity control. So it's just the typical kind of shaker tambourine movement here. Is on the original here on this drum loop. So it's more like swinging. You can add a little bit of control. It all really depends on like the song you're making, what exactly you need to do. I will probably do another video that has to do with the other way around, so making one of the newer songs into the style of his older songs. There's a lot of variation you can do it. That's why it's kind of difficult to do a tutorial on it, because there's so many different ways you could go with it. All throughout his career, Tyler's been he's been a creator he's not stuck to one style, he's not stuck to one genre. That also makes this a really good exercise for producers. Own like what they're doing. Maybe if you're creatively stuck somewhere, try stuff out like this. That's actually what I do a lot. Can't really produce my own stuff. I'll start doing remixes of other people's stuff, do mashups, mixes, anything like that. So I won't be going through the whole thing, but I will make this off camera, and then I will upload it as a separate thing. So that will probably come out at some point today, maybe tomorrow. So yeah, hope Hope you guys enjoyed this little introduction. If you guys want me to do more tutorials on specific songs and styles of songs you want to see, then definitely comment them down below, and I'll see you guys next time.